One member absent.
Well, Travis will be a late attendant, so I'll just write in the time when he gets here.
Okay.
Okay, and we have 13 items on the agenda. We go to item number 2, the pledge of allegiance. DJ, will you do this, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, read and approve minutes for December 18th, 2024, regular meeting.
For Clark Municipal Utility District, December 18, 2024, regular board meeting minutes. State of Texas, County, Fort Clark Municipal Utility District. The Board of Directors of said district convened in a regular board meeting at Fort Clark Municipal Utility District boardroom at 9 a.m. on December 18th. Pursuant to notice duly given in accordance with Section 49.063 of the Texas Water Code and the Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code. President Cerna called the meeting to order at 9 a.m. The following members were in attendance in person and constituted a quorum. Felix M. Cerna, President. Stephen Crosby, Vice President. Barbara Eckenrod, Secretary. Travis Huey, Director at Large. The Treasurer, Tanya Sini, was not in attendance. And Director Eckenrod led the Pledge of Allegiance. General Accountant Roxanne, and Director Eckenrod read the minutes for November 13, 2024, regular board meeting. Director Huey moved to approve as read. Second motion carried by Director Crosby, carried unanimously. Manager Castillo reported wells at 7 feet 6 inches static and 12 feet pumping. The leak rate was 50%. Spectrum is the reason for the high leak rate. Spectrum will be done underground. I guess that should be done underground by December 20th. The Texas Water Utility Association meeting will continue in January. General Accountant Roxanne presented the 2025 holiday office closure schedule with no additions or deletions. Director Huey moved to approve as presented. Second motions carried by Director Eckenrod, carried unanimous. Todd Tate, Chief Appraiser, was invited by the board to attend the meeting to speak on trust property process and answer questions regarding Trust Property Unit 1, Fort Clark Springs, Lot 254, undeveloped. Director Huey motion to deny bid on Unit 1, Fort Clark Springs, Lot 254. Second motion carried by Director Crosby, carried unanimous. Public hearings began at 9:41 a.m. No comments. Public hearing closed at 9:42 a.m. Discussion, review, proposed rate order number 2024-1228. Verbiage changed and red letters changed from last meeting. Director Eckenrod moved to approve proposed rate order number 2024-1228. Second motion carried by Director Crosby, carried unanimous. Executive session began at 9:45 a.m. Regular session convened at 10:22 a.m. Director Huey motion to approve 6% cost of living increase for all employees. Second motion carried by Director Eckenrod, carried unanimous. General Accountant Roxanne presented the November 2024 general fund to include water sold for the month to year. The debt service financial report, monthly bills presented to review and sign, checks to sign. Director Eckenrod moved to approve the November 2024 financial reports as presented. Second motion carried out by Director Crosby, carried unanimous. Director Huey approved to amend the 2024 final general fund budget. Second motion carried by Director Eckenrod, carried unanimous. This concluded the business and meeting adjourned at 10:47 pursuant to motion made by Director Eckenrod. Second motion carried by Director Crosby, carried unanimous. Minutes approved and certified to be true and correct, and to correctly reflect the acts of the constituted members in office before the board.
Any questions?
Well, do you want to make a correction to that second paragraph where it says spectrum will be done underground?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I think she's saying spectrum will be finished with underground work
Yes.
Yeah,
by.
where is that in the second?
Yep.
Because I know
Spectrum will be, I'd say finished with
Will be-
underground work
will be
by,
finished or complete. Will be
finished or completed, finished with underground work by, second paragraph.
Down there under, you're getting the body of it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Construction
Will be.
finished with underground work.
I would say work by, and then the rest is correct.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
The additions of those, with that word. Yeah, because I kind of paused in the reading. I didn't yet. Right, yeah,
Just provide a little clarity.
right.
Any other questions? Additions? Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for December 18th.
I move that we approve the minutes for December 18th with the noted little correction in that paragraph.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Item number 4, general manager's report. Randy?
The well level's a static level 7'4". The pumping level's 11'9", pretty similar to what it was last month.
That's what I was gonna say. The same figure.
It's still
What was
holding.
it, 7? It was 7. We don't have that last page on this one. What did I read? It was 7.4 last, 7.6 last month. So it's better this month than it was last month.
It's leak rate 44%. TWA meeting is put on by Lakey, but it's going to be in Valley tonight. And the guys are going. I'm not sure if I'm going or not. And with the TDM program, we got notification that we were receiving the 2 generators that we applied for. I'm sorry it's so loosely written. I just got it. So if any of y'all want to make notes of this, the generator for the well yard, the cost of it was $94,612.50.
94 what?
$94,612.50. That's the well yard.
That's the generator.
Yes, ma'am. Now the chlorinator generator was $46,358.05.
46.
$46,358.05.
And that's for the chlorinator.
That's the generator for the chlorinator. Yes, ma'am. So the payback on it is somewhere around and I don't quote me on full price on this, but payback on it is somewhere around $69,000 to be divided among 3 entities.
Okay.
So, but the county's getting 4 generators, we're getting 2, and the city's getting 2. So you can't, they're splitting it 3 ways. So, and I'm going to invite Elma and Candy to come to one of our meetings and tell us, we don't have to accept the money. We went in underneath the county. The county's actually accepting the money and doing the purchasing of the generators. We just have to be responsible for what our payback of the money is for the grant writers. So that's all I have on that. That's all I have.
When do you think you'll know that? What you just mentioned.
I imagine by the end of the week.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this was just given to me Monday, so I just kind of jotted down loose figures and just let you know that we did get approved for it.
Well, good.
I got some more, but I think I want to talk about it on the mitigation stuff. That's all I have for the manager's report.
So that's good. The wells
Holding their own.
they're holding their own. Yeah. You know, there's a water shortage. Seems everywhere else.
Everybody's got water problems.
Yeah.
But we're held.
We're gonna
Hold
get
it steady.
we're gonna get a flood.
I know, but that could be dangerous.
Yeah, well, at least with all this mitigation stuff, we're getting ready for it.
Yeah.
At this time, I'd like to skip the item number 9.
We can do number 5 if you like, Felix. We don't really need track. He asked for it to be on there, but I know what he wanted to talk
You already
about.
know what he,
Yeah, mainly was the generators.
Okay, let's look at number 5 then, and then we'll skip it.
Yes, sir, please.
Discussion on hazard mitigation.
So if y'all recall, about 3 years ago, I was attending all these mitigation meetings with the grant writers, with the county and the city, and even the school was involved. And we started talking about things that we could do to get prepared for hazardous situations in the county. And there was a number of things discussed. Of course, obviously, the generators was the one that was mainly everybody was pushing for. They're going to be natural gas generators in town and propane generators here on the fort. So yes, we did. And then another thing I want to discuss with you guys about the mitigation thing is we want to purchase a fuel tank. Now we have a diesel tank in the back, which covers our generators and covers our utility truck. But I think it might be a wise decision for us since we're doing this mitigation stuff. If there's no power, there's going to be any way to pump gas. So if we have our own gas tank in the back, I think it'd help us with our mitigation program as well.
are you talking about diesel or?
I'm talking regular unleaded fuel. We already have a diesel tank back there.
Okay. Okay. And we have all the propane tanks we're gonna need with these new generators or?
Well, we'll be purchasing a small one for this. There is a propane tank in the well yard. Our backup motor in the well yard is propane. It's just a 1950.
What?
It's a 1950 something engine, propane engine. It always fires up when we need it though. So
Works. Old things last long.
that's really all I have on the mitigation
I
stuff.
know,
Is any
great.
questions?
And I've been hearing, especially with all those fires out in California, and the older houses seem to be okay, and the newer ones, the ones burning up. Weird.
The reason I'm gonna skip item 6 through 9 is, excuse me, through 8, is because these are discussion items that were put on here by one of our board members that's not here. So we don't know exactly what he wanted to discuss. If he comes back in the meeting, we can go back and talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And if he doesn't make it, we can adjourn and put on the next agenda.
Yeah.
any questions on number 5? It's just a discussion item.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Randy. Item number 9, consideration and possible action on requests to purchase trust property. Todd?
Would you like to
You wanna come on?
elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think, are there two of them on there?
I don't know. I think it's just
I just see the one.
yeah, it's the
Well-
one for Chad Potts, purchase of
There's-
a number of properties.
There should be two of them.
Just see the.
That's the only one I see.
Oh, I had one, I'm trying, oh no, never mind, that's right. The one I'm trying to purchase in the city, so it has nothing to do with it. Sorry,
Okay, so
yeah, so this, go ahead.
we declined the sale of a property in Unit 1.
A single one unit.
Yes, a single one, mainly because this one was going to be, that property was going to be bundled with a bid that you guys were
Right.
looking for a number of.
We thought someone else was gonna bid for it, but, they declined to bid for it, which was the fort itself. And so, Mr. Potts has put in a bid for all of these. We hold over 130 properties in trust here on the fort. That some of those have been held in trust since before I worked there. Some of them go back to 2001, I think, how long we held them in trust, which means that they have
They're not generating any revenue.
no money whatsoever. So, this offer of $15,000 has been made to purchase the whole of the properties that we hold in trust, except one, which is in Unit 3 with a mobile home. And we'll deal with it separately. So, but all of these are spread throughout Fort Clark.
Yeah.
Mainly, they're undeveloped, and Unit 4. Well, there's actually 7, 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 28, 29, 30. And there might be some other ones that went in there too.
Yeah, well, there's a list of where
Yeah.
they're at.
That-
I just,
and so basically it's an opportunity for us to get them off of our role in the sense that we hold them in trust for you and all the other taxing entities. And they would be put back on the tax roll to generate income individually. So
Well, if this man buys it, will he be responsible for each one of those lots?
oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll be-
He'll be paying taxes.
taxes on
You'll
it,
be
yes.
paying taxes on it and
Yeah.
assessments.
Yeah.
Right? There are assessments
Well-
on those or not?
Well, not if they're not performing.
There's a legal discussion on that because when they go through the tax sale, there is no membership attached to them. We do not foreclose on memberships. We foreclose on property.
See.
So when we hold them, they're held as a property, not as a membership.
Are these being purchased with the ultimate goal of being developed, or do you know?
I have no idea. I think there's other motives, but I can't say because I don't know.
Well, this person would have a whole lot of votes in an
Yes.
election.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they will have probably more votes than
Anyone.
nuggets. Yeah.
I'm
So,
yeah, I'm very suspicious of.
Well, that's fine. I'm just here.
And my question is, I thought I just heard you answer it. What it actually generates in revenue for the appraisal district? I mean, does it generate, if
It-
it's undeveloped and just sitting there, it's not,
The only thing, all the undeveloped lots, the only thing they generate is tax.
well, how much?
That
though?
each of the undeveloped lots that we call the bonus lots, which we have appraised at $500 this year, $7.26,
A
which
lot.
gets divided among the entities. But the issue is our lawyers approached the fort and made them an offer on these for them to take them back and get them back under their control.
Okay,
The judge, one of the lawyers from the law firm went and spoke with the judge. Then that's how this other person found out, was through the judge's office. He came in and asked questions and then made an offer. Then the offer that was provided to the fort for them, our intention was for these to go back to the fort.
right.
They belong to the fort should be responsible for it. They rejected the offer. And so we have this offer that has been made. It's a legitimate offer. If you all accept it, because the other entities that have gotten it so far have accepted it, then they will be put back on the tax roll and they will be generating income for you all and for the other tax entities.
$7 and
Well,
per
the
lot. Per lot.
individual, but
times,
yeah, times 134.
But the thing is, they're not generating.
They're not generating.
They're just sitting there.
And it's just, it doesn't look good for me. I mean, I don't like when I pull up KCAD properties and trust, and I've got this
Yeah.
huge list, and they're all on Fort Clark Springs.
What was the reason, or did they say a reason that the court didn't want them back? Because they just,
They were made an offer $12,000, just under $13,000.
did these belong to someone, or they were
They were individually owned, and they
back when in the 70s when they were doing all that promotion and
and
stuff?
a lot of them, their kids
Inherited it and
and
then.
don't have a clue what they
probably
are.
have one of mine probably was one of my grandmother's. is-
Right.
I know it is.
I was given one of those.
Yeah. well, that's-
And so, yeah, over the year, anytime delinquent letters go out from our office, we begin to get calls about these kind of lots and, well, where is it? How much is it worth?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so they're not worth anything. We put a nominal value on them because they have to have some kind of a value. And so, but the issue is, if everyone approves them, they go back on the tax roll. And it might not be a whole lot of money, but at least it's some money that's getting generated every year.
But this potentially could cause other issues
I can see that.
that
Well-
are not tax related. I mean, they're
Right.
not your issue.
No.
But they would be our issue,
I think they would be the fourth issue.
the fourth issue.
But the fort was negligent in not taking them back. And they should have recognized that at one time.
But I don't know that this fixes it or
It doesn't
makes
fix
it worse.
Yeah. It makes it
Well,
worse.
In my opinion, as a member of the board.
well,
I
yeah,
agree with you.
to look at it from the fort aspect one way, but to look at it from a
Tax roll.
entity
Yeah.
that should have no bearing on it, in the sense that for the functioning of the entities, for the functioning of our office,
Mhm.
it's beneficial to get them back on the tax roll, regardless of what the motives behind it are. And the issue is, our lawyers have been in conversations for 3 months with the fort to try to get them to
Buy it back, take it back.
take them back.
And they should have looked at all of that, I think. Yeah. I think this falls under their responsibility as far as looking at what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And ours is just,
So how much is this
Yeah, but we. don't-
individual willing to pay?
Just-
15,000.
How do we just
15,000?
That will cover.
they didn't do it, and
Maybe not.
it really is gonna affect them more than it's gonna affect.
That figures out to be a little over 25% of the market value of each of those properties.
Say it again. I didn't.
The amount of money that's being offered. See, what was offered to the fort is that quarter 25% value of market on each of the properties of what it was offered to them for. This is a little higher than that, so it's just over 25%.
Can we hold off voting on this until Travis gets here, because I want to hear what he has to say.
It's your decision, so.
You can even table it till the
I'd
next meeting.
table it. I'd like,
That's,
I
that-
would,
it's y'all's call.
Yeah, but I would like, because Travis always thinks of things I don't ever think of, and I would like to hear what he has to say on this too.
We're here, so we can wait around.
Yeah, you want to move on to the next line item? Whatever you want to do.
Whatever y'all want.
I move that we table this until.
Until next meeting, or you want to wait to see if Travis shows up to this meeting?
Yeah, if we can, if he shows up, then just discuss it with him. If I'd like to hear, get a little, something.
this is an action item,
It is, yeah.
so. I mean, I would just say table it. I'd like to think on it myself.
You want to make a motion to table it till the next meeting? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I would, if that's, I
Okay,
would
please.
table this till the next meeting.
And I'll second it.
Any other questions for Todd?
Now, Todd, thank
Everybody-
you for explaining.
Got a motion to table this item? Have a second?
I
All
second.
those in favor? Unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Can you handle number 10?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, that one's pretty simple.
The
Nothing
secretary's not
changed.
here. The secretary's not here. This is review and approve the 2024 fourth quarterly investment report.
Looks like this. It's our CDs, it's our investment. I'll just go through it briefly. CD number one, it's $32,268.25. Has an interest rate of 4.5%, and it matures January 7th, 2025.
This is already,
It's already matured, and I'm pretty sure she's already done the renewal of it, but like I said, she's not here, so
well, I just want to say that we had one like this and the interest rate is not 4.25 anymore.
That was your personal one.
Huh?
Your personal one. You
Yeah.
did, yeah.
well, it's more than 2% now. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, CD number two, the balance on it is $54,506.16. The interest rate on that one is 2%. It also matured 1/7 of 25. Our last CD is $23,328.03. It also gets 4.25%, and the maturity date on that is 4/25/25. So all three of them are going to mature this year. So. And I'm assuming we're just going to renew them. We have no plans to do anything with that money.
Okay. Well, I'll move that we approve the 2024 fourth quarter investment report as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion to second. I would just like to add that since these are due now, we need to have a new rates.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she'll be ready to talk in 20.
I mean, but we need to have it, bring it to us so we know what.
Yes.
Two of them.
Yeah, and the other one's in April.
It's an April.
Yep, yeah.
We're on the investment report. So I look at it real quick.
Sorry, Mike.
Good morning.
Mike.
And congratulations. After the meeting, I'd like to see a picture.
Yes.
We have a motion in second.
Yeah, so we're done with that one.
Is this a different one, Ron?
So you can go back to item number 6, or you,
Or do you want to?
or
I
you
would
want
like
to talk.
to, I would like to discuss what we've already tabled it, but I want to hear Travis's input.
The trust property sale, we decided to table that till next meeting.
Okay.
It's taken.
Okay.
It's not even.
It's already a motion made. and
But you guys
everything.
can, you can bring up to date about what y'all talking about if you like.
But do we do it in open session or just go ahead and do it?
It's an open meeting.
You can ask questions to Todd now, okay?
Yeah, you're
Do you
welcome.
have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I understand the process now. It's not a full, it's not the full value of the property. But I understand that part. And that was really my question was last time is kind of what the process. So I understand the process.
I just need to table till next meeting then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, y'all have to vote to table it. Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Already did.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm. It's done.
I guess you want to go back to line item number 6, and that was one of the things he requested.
Item number 5.
Five we discussed. Number 6,
Do you have any questions on 5?
Um,
I kind of went through what we talked
Yeah,
about.
no,
I
no.
talked about the purchase of the fuel tank in the back
perfect.
that we talked about, so I think we're pretty
No,
much
no,
covered that.
I'm good on 5.
Okay, then we'll go back to item number 6. Discussion on study of FCMUD assets.
So this was an agenda item that I put on for discussion. I'll be very quick about it. Randy's already done some research, and we've already started doing the asset list that we worked with the state to get their documents on. Randy has another list here that will be helpful in that. The reason that I wanted to bring this up, right now we have these assets, and we need to get them listed. That's the first step. The next step over time will be to look at a reserve study. We've had a lot of questions over time, like, are we at the correct rate? Are we not at the correct rate? And a lot of times, we think we know where we need to be. But this will actually tell us and make those decisions very easy. If we do a reserve study on the assets that we have, at some point, that will kind of give us a guidance. And a lot of times those studies are 30-year plans. So while they're expensive up front, they allow you to look at your assets and how they're going to be used and what you need to take care of those assets. And that'll be very helpful when we're talking about what do we need to be paying our people? What do we need to be charging our customers? What do we need to be spending on a monthly basis? And so this discussion item was just to start the conversation around collecting the list. There's a lot of legwork that happens before you even get to a reserve study. We've already started doing that, putting that mapping program together, that GIS program that they mentioned as well. All of these are the steps to getting there. But the idea is over time to make these decisions that we need to look at rates and expenses just much easier and give us more tools to do that. So I just wanted to bring that up, and Randy already brought some information about that. So
If I remember correctly, when we talked about this before, it was, you said it can be costly, but I think you were applying for it to not be costly or be us to have to pay for it.
So the first part of it is the part that the state helps with, which is getting us the list, the inventory list of that. Now, once we get all of that done, which will take several months, I mean, this is not going to be a fast process at all. Once we have all that information together, that's when we go start looking for the money for the next piece, which is the expensive piece. And so there's state programs for that. There will be Texas Water Development Board programs, USDA programs that we can look into. But first, what they're going to want to know before they would award us that is that we have all of our documentation inventories in place. And that will actually be a part of the application saying, we've done all of this. We went through the state program, you know how it goes. It's
Right,
just a
but we're
very-
not looking at having to budget or expend a lot of money other than time and our own, what we've got
Right.
to
We've
put
got,
things
we've
together
got
right
enough
now.
on our plate already.
Right, I
With the
just-
bonds and whatnot, but, we're talking about coming out of the road bond here in a couple of years. And so, like, if at that point, like he's talking about, if we wanted to get into another endeavor, then we would have the assessments of what our,
But to me, it sounds like we can get funding for this. It would not cost us.
I'll tell you right now, nothing's fully
asking.
funded. Nothing's fully
Well, I know
funded.
that
And
it's
you're
a lot of
lucky,
times
you're
matching,
lucky a
but-
lot of times if you get 50%.
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't want us to get into something that we
Exactly.
cannot afford.
Right. Well, and all the work that we're doing now is going to benefit us whether we move
Well, I
forward.
don't disagree. No, I don't disagree. I'm just saying, at what point or is it costing or do we need to be planning for?
I would imagine that this would kind of be the process. And in my mind, the timeline would be we go through the different pieces that we're doing now, we get the mapping piece together, and that will probably be late summer timeframe. We start talking to the state and getting their direction on the different programs, and that leads us right into looking at it in next year's budget. So we either do something that makes it available in next year's budget, or we know that we need 50%, 30%, whatever the case might be. So that's kind of the timeline. Again, we're not going to make this happen.
No, that's
Today.
that's what I wanted to know,
Yeah.
what kind of
Yeah.
we're looking at. And I agree it's a beneficial study. And I'm just wondering the costs
Yes, yeah.
associated.
Oh, and the cost can be, $30,000+, which is not something we just have, sitting around. and that's a lot of money in our budget,
We
in
have to
general.
pass that on for our
And
customers.
for
yeah.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
and see, I don't want to raise.
Mhm.
Not back to back.
Right. And so we've got to really look at how much can we get, is it going to be feasible? What is it going to allow us to do?
So are we, then the second, are we getting into something that, I mean, it sounds like to me, we can move forward with what we're doing. If at some point there's money involved that we cannot incur, we can say stop.
Yeah,
we're
there's
not
nothing
going
to
this
say we
route.
can't start
No,
studying that.
yeah,
That's-
Okay.
because all the things that we're doing now, we need anyways. And so at the end of the day, there's several there's several crossings where we can say,
Okay,
we're not,
all right,
we're and we're not committed.
okay.
Like, we're not
That's-
committed at
all
all.
right, okay.
We're just kind of getting ready with our side of it.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's a bad idea to have your assets and
Right.
know what you got. You need to know what you got anyway, so that's a beneficial.
Well, and we may find, in part of the asset reserve or part of the asset inventory, system is age of things. And I think, and Brandy and I've had this discussion, I think that's where we're going to start qualifying for money. And I can actually see this being tagged together with a project. There are several units that you mentioned that this may become so expensive that we can make the argument that it is not beneficial for us to redo this large percentage of our system without surveying our whole system. And then that reserve study that I'm talking about becomes, even though it's system wide, becomes a part of the funding for those actual smaller pieces. Because, I think we're going to get up to probably 15-20% of our total system if you talk about just those 3 units from a pipe in the ground foot, we say, okay, we have X amount of feet in the ground. We're looking at in these 3 areas where we're having problems, that's X percentage of our system. Well, it doesn't benefit you to redo that large portion of your system without knowing the full. And so being able to wrap these studies into those projects is where I think we'll really find some benefit. But again, a lot of places to say no or go, no go.
Yeah.
Lots
I
of go, no go.
I just don't want us to. Yeah, how do you feel about this?
I feel like nothing's fully funded. We need to complete one of our endeavors before we even start looking into another. But like you said, this is a slow start. It wouldn't hurt to do an assessment of what we've got, what it's worth.
Okay.
It's just let's not hope it's might be beyond my scope of work. I don't know, but as long as everybody's patient, we all work together. I think we can probably get it done.
Yeah, and the piece that is, on the GM is exactly what you're getting. The reserve study is actually done by an independent third party. They come in, you basically hand them this, and then they start looking at it from there. We're lucky because we're relatively small and simple is the wrong word, but we're a very efficient, system that it doesn't have a lot of moving parts, right? You've got assets here, out back, and some in between, but we kind of have a good handle. Like, can you imagine San Antonio? Like, they don't know what. There's like, oh, wow, there's they could point at the ground and say there's a pipe in the ground, and more likely than not, they're going to be right. There's pipes everywhere. So I think we have an advantage there. And again, it's slow process. I don't see this coming to any sort of capital outlay until 2026. So.
How about item number 7, this discussion on bond requirement?
So I've recently received the packet on the bond, the road bond. And I'm going to go through that and pull out some relevant, or the relevant sections on what we are obligated to as far as maintenance. I think that's something that we need to understand. Is there an obligation? Is there not an obligation? I think as things become more bleak in regards to finances at the association, there is going to be more questions around how the roads are going to be fixed, and we need to understand what our because we own them, because we applied for the bond, what is our obligation? And that's what I'm going to look for, and then we'll pass on and we can discuss that a little bit. But
I think we were pretty
There's,
clear on it.
there's maintenance agreements that were done and redone and whatnot. And see, the bond really doesn't have anything to do with the roads were deeded to MUD in 2003.
Mhm.
The bond issue didn't come until 2010.
Mhm.
Right now, the only thing with the bond issue is it means the roads are ours until the bond issue is completed. Now, Debbie's talked to us in the past about an early payout. That bond matures in February of 2010. Now, Debbie's talking to us about maybe an early payoff in 2027. So if we're talking about early payoff in 2 years, is this something we really want to get into with the Fort over who's responsible for what?
no,
When there's maintenance agreements already in place that say the Fort will do it.
right, but that's what that's where this is going.
So where do
Is
we
that-
have to get some enforcement on the Fort to say you're going to do this?
That's where I'm going. If we are obligated under the bond and we have an agreement, then we need to enforce the agreement. That's where I'm going with this. I'm not going and saying that we need to find the funds. I'm saying that we need to enforce the agreement.
But when we fulfill the bond,
We do
does
roads
it
back.
end? Does the agreement end? I mean, whatever is in the bond. But I think the agreement would have to do with the initial purchase of.
No, what I'm talking. So the agreement has to do with the initial transfer, right? That's where that
Mhm,
starts.
mhm.
However, when we took on the bond, and this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I want to
2010.
the 20, yes. So that bond, when the money was received by MUD, there's an obligation to keep those roads at a certain standard while that bond is in place. That's what I'm looking for. And if that is the case, then we need to look at the enforcement of our agreement. And it's also going to play in, we may want to make the sacrifice to pay it off in 27. We may want to get it off our books. If we start looking at this and we say, we can't, there's no way to enforce this.
I personally feel like MUD taking the roads from the Fort was one of the worst things they've ever done.
Oh, I do too.
I think best interest of our company would be to pay that bond off and deed the roads back to the association.
Well, and that's a very real, but all of this plays into that in saying that we need to understand that the reason for doing that is because we have a contract that the person isn't solvent enough to enforce upon. So we need to make the effort to get it off of our books because otherwise that expense is going to fall on us.
Mhm.
So it's a risk thing, and that's why.
Do you have a bond?
Yes. Randy went through and found a lot of the paperwork, and Roxy was able to get some digital copies for me. So I'm going to go through all of that, and this is actually fun for me.
Well, I'm glad.
I like stuff like that too.
I do too.
I mean, that's-
very.
I don't read for fun, I read to learn.
I got enough on my plate.
I do too. Enjoy. Yeah, enjoy.
I think I heard you say though, a little while ago, we have a commitment for this whole time. So are we breaking that commitment by paying early? In other words.
I don't think so.
Well, that'll be in the bond. That would be in the bond.
That might be something we need to get Mr. Hossel to come up here and talk to
Yes,
us about.
and
Yeah.
when we get to that point, we will definitely get there and look at that. But I think that the actual piece of it would be tied to the bond being in place. So if we paid the bond off, it's no longer in place. That would release the obligation.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. We may want to really buckle down on our expenses so that we have the money to do this in order to be out from under it and not have that obligation.
Yeah, no, I think that's worth looking into.
Yeah, I do too.
That'll be really good.
I agree.
We need it.
Yeah, it's strategic.
Yeah.
But could I just make one comment? The reason why the streets were deeded to Fort Clark MUD, are you all aware of why?
Tax purposes. Save the Fort taxes.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have the numbers up here.
So if we deed the roads back to the Fort, then the roads go back on the tax roll.
But
And
that was the basis for their
yes,
And when was it done?
2003.
2010.
3.
2003. So 20 plus years ago, From my understanding, the assessed rate that is on the appraisal district is the rate that they were transferred at because they have not been reassessed since they've been put into
Correct.
MUD's care. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like 4.2, 4.3.
I don't have the number.
It's over $4 million. Okay, it was the 20.
That's the value, what you're saying, that's the value of the
the
roads.
So what does
And
that
the
mean?
rate is 4%?
No. I'm getting there.
Okay.
So over $4 million. The savings to the association is approximately $73,000. The detriment to the MUD entity is $15,000 a year. It costs us $15,000 a year to have those roads sit on our
So
balance
they
sheet.
can save.
So they can save 70.
Right.
Tell me how that works, as far as MUD is concerned, how does that, the 15,000, how is that our detriment?
The property taxes that would be collected by the appraisal district would be $70,000.
Mhm.
Our share of that, MUD's share, would be $15,000 of that $70,000. Because they sit on our balance sheet, the $70,000 is not collected. Thus, we don't collect the $15,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have done them $70,000 for 20 plus years, and 15 times 20. And remember, those roads have not been reassessed
Right.
since 2003. So it's probably like,
Because they probably would have been,
Be worth more.
they've at least doubled
Yeah, with that
because they
paving
were
project.
improved in 2010.
yep,
So yes, and the actual land value itself has increased
yep.
above and beyond the improvement part of it.
Right.
So
So you're looking at $8 million worth of roads at the current tax rate, $140,000, $30,000 to MUD. You know, $30,000 to our, what was $30,000? A reserve study?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could pay for that.
And there you go.
So what is maybe I'm getting into something don't need to be, but the deeding process it has to be in agreement with both parties, right?
No,
I don't
No.
think so. We'll have to get
yeah,
our
we'll have
attorney
to look
involved
into
in.
that.
Yeah, we'll get Bracewell involved when
Okay.
that time comes.
That's a whole other topic. But
Yeah.
again, we're looking at what our
I don't think
obligation is.
I don't think there's anything legally says that we have to keep them. We'll have to
Yeah,
get our
that-
attorney involved.
It is stipulated in the agreement. I can't speak to it precisely at the moment, so I think it would be better if we
Wait.
waited.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
there is language in that agreement.
When we get to that point, we'll get Mr. Avila involved.
Mhm. And I have one more discussion item if we're done with the bond. So number 8 is the Texas Water Leaders Program.
Mhm.
So Texas Water Leaders is a program put on by Texas Water Foundation. Texas Water Foundation is a group that works on advocacy for a lot of the bills that are going through. So legislative session just started this week. They're in Austin. The CEO of Texas Water Foundation is Sarah Schlesinger. She's from Del Rio. She grew up in Del Rio and spent time in Sweden back and forth. I don't know how those two places go to, but those are the two places that she grew up. One of their board members is also from Del Rio, and it is a network. They put 100 people through this program. This is the 6th year of the program. I'm applying for their leadership program. It's it goes on for several months. There's several trainings in Austin, and so when I get more information about that, there is a cost, and we can talk about that if I'm accepted. But it's a program that puts private industry, science, and government all in the same study groups, and has an extensive program to talk about Texas water in the future, what that looks like. So just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. Not a whole lot to do on that now, but if I am accepted, then we can talk more in depth about that.
What are you hoping to, I mean, what's the gain, or what are you thinking long term with, if it all came to pass, if you did get on that, what are your goals?
So
And how does that relate to?
MUD.
Yeah.
So long term, there are a lot of projects, and we're at the head of the Edwards Aquifer, and our wells are in a very vulnerable state, and if there is not something done, or if there is something done to bring water from the south, And then from a desalinization standpoint with the main line, we need to be in those conversations and we need to be understanding of that. And so one, it's a networking opportunity to be connected with all of those different private, public, policy and other MUDs. But also over time, I think we're going to have to start looking at other opportunities to work with our wastewater. All of that's covered in there. So it's really to become more familiar and acquainted with the policies that are available and that will, in the legislation and the programs that can help MUD move forward.
I heard John Paul just mention it about the desalinization. So this is something that's has already been looked at or is being looked at.
Oh, it's in
It's
The Navy's
here.
been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, but I'm talking about Bracketville.
Oh, and that's the problem. We're on the west side of the EAA,
Yeah.
and we're on the north side of all the communities that really need the desalinization in the Rio Grande Valley. So like Eagle Pass, they're in the discussions.
Yeah.
Well, Eagle Pass is right there.
Uh,
San Antonio is in the conversation. We're just kind of like outside of both.
Bordering everything.
We should be in both conversations. And so until we can do that, that's
So this is your way in, is what you're saying.
Mhm.
Okay, I understand. Way to get a foot in the door.
Yes, and I've talked with Sarah about this, and what they try and do, it's not just about your role in Texas water, it's also about your geographical place, and they use this like UT mapping program. There's this PhD from UT that has this deal where they put in, are you government, are you private, are you science, and then your location, and they're trying to build through these different programs each year a network that covers all of Texas. Well, we are a big blank in that area, so there's a really good chance if I can be persuasive enough to get into the program. So,
and we need to be a part of that too.
Mhm.
I mean,
yeah, and I've been to several of their events throughout the years. Actually, Annabelle McNew was in class 4. And she was in that class because she was the tourism director at Uvalde County up at Comcam.
Class 4.
So this is class 6, and she was in
Okay.
class 4.
Oh.
So,
too.
She went through.
Mhm.
All right. Okay.
That takes care of all the
Interesting
discussion items.
stuff.
yes, yes,
A lot's going
yes.
on.
Welcome back.
Hey, yeah, I know. I missed one meeting, and I'm like, sorry. Golly. That's what I get for missing a meeting.
Yeah, we got so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much to do. So.
All right.
Okay, so those items was just for discussion, we'll approve those.
Yes. Thank y'all for taking the time. I know everyone has things to do.
It's
So.
all good. It's all good.
Item number 10.
I think we did 10.
We did 10, so maybe 11.
11.
Oh, that's right, sorry.
Moving faster than you think.
Yeah. Financial report.
I'm gonna start with cash disbursements.
That's the one. Randy's gonna handle.
I'm gonna try, I'm not Roxanne, so we'll go here. If there's any questions on cash disbursements, that's our list of our bills we paid. We paid $20,333.17. And last year, we paid $18,269.03. I'm on this page right here.
Mm-hmm. So it's just $2,000 difference.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Then moving on to profit and loss. Total income for the month is $57,153.02. Last year we were at $34,054.52.
Now that's the difference.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was for, what do you think that, were we on?
We're net profit of $4,706.59. I'm on profit and loss for the month of
Yeah.
December. And if you carry on, profit and move to loss, budget versus actual,
Oh, wow.
we ended the year at $641,293.14. So we're above our budget. We brought in more income. Our income is at 103.4%. Our expenses
we're at 91%, which shows an income of $77,098.12. And anybody can copy these notes if you like. If I went too fast for you.
Because I missed last week, has there been any updates on the domestic waste disposal? If
We
those are
we
coming
met our
in?
budget on it. We were kind of questioning
I
there, but yeah,
know.
we did receive
Okay.
what we were quoted to get. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Is
actually, we're off to a good start. They're bringing trucks almost.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay. I know you were gonna communicate with them and see kind of what,
Yeah. And we'll see when this presidency changes if these things don't fire up a little harder.
okay.
Now, there was some conversation at the county commissioners meeting about the rollback of the OLS funds, and they are preparing for that. So I think just over time, if we pay attention to what they're talking about, so the way that the judge has been communicating with other entities across the state that are on the border is what they're asking for is sort of okay, apply for what you have, give us 80% in 2026, 60% ongoing, to kind of slowly roll that off. And I think if we kind of look at this in a slow correlation or low correlation to that, we ought to be able to kind of project what we're going to see. And it may be better or it may be worse, but as those funds start to go away, I think we'll see less activity here. So that's kind of one thing that we can keep a pulse on. If those programs are fully funded again,
Then we're gonna have
I
this.
think we're going to have this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so good. Good measure.
I suggest if there's any questions about the finances, you save them for Roxanne.
I just want to say that we finished the year within our budget,
We spent the whole summer asking people to not water
I
and
know,
to make our
I
budget.
know,
It's just-
I know, it's pretty incredible that we made it
That we
with
made it.
telling people don't use water.
Yep.
So, it's good.
And this is the way it's been
Yep.
since I've been here. We stay within our budget, and I think the board's always working on that. Randy's working on that. So I'm very satisfied as far as the operation of MUD for this year.
So if I can get a motion and approval on line item 10, please.
Yep.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion, a second.
One second.
We have a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Just other for discussion and sign checks. I need you to sign that, please. That's my 6% increase on my income. I can't give myself a raise. Do you want to sign the employees or do you want me to? I can give the employees a raise. I said, do you want to sign these or do you want me to?
Okay.
You'll sign them? There you go.
I've signed them before, right?
Yes, sir. You can sign by both of us. And actually, we can start signing
Signing
checks.
checks.
Yeah. We'll go this way, Travis.
Give us a stack here.
I'm gonna give them all to
That'll
you.
work fine. If you
the
want, I
whole
can
thing,
manage
yeah.
it.
There you go.
I'll
That'll
help you
help.
out.
Great.
I'll help you out.
I can have that back. I'll give you the next one. Me, Kuko. Here's Anna, Percy, and Roxanne.
You guys here for this $7.50 check?
They came for it.
Sure, why not?
He'll take it.
We'll definitely take it.
Thank you, sir. Don't sign your own check, please.
No, we haven't. We're being careful.
Very good. One more signature on that one.
Travis.
This one's good.
I just don't know.
Oh,
It has a little thing here. Does it need another
Yes,
something?
ma'am.
For,
that's
from who?
travel voucher, that's for me.
Yeah,
That
those
was
are
done,
done.
yeah.
I was given them there. Need another? This one you need. Got BJ on there already. That's me and BJ. And that was for you.
This is our permit stuff.
Yes,
Okay.
for both ways.
Yeah.
Do I need to sign that?
Thank you.
These are all. They have three? Yeah. Y'all have three? Okay. I don't know if there's anything for discussion. I think we've pretty much discussed it all, but that's up to y'all. Any more discussion? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
You go.
I move that we adjourn.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you much. And that was at what?
9:58. Want to call it 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock.
Run.